Hey there, this is Linda West with Living Live, and I'm so excited to bring to you more talk about cryptocurrency, that crazy currency that a lot of people don't understand. So I'm here with Justin Rekla today. We're here to help you understand what cryptocurrency is so you can make an educated decision on what you want to do about that, right? So that's what we're all about, is educating you so that you can make smart decisions instead of just diving into something that you have no idea what you're doing. So I want to start off letting you know that neither Justin nor I, we are not financial advisors, we are not lawyers, and we're not here to tell you what to do, just here to educate you. So actually, Justin's educating you, I'm just asking questions. So before we get started, please share the show with anybody that you know is interested in cryptocurrency. You've heard them talking about it. They're not really sure what they're doing. They're talking bad crap about it because they don't know what they're talking about. Share this with them. And then also, I belong to a group called Astigialist Success Mastery. It's a mastermind group. If you're interested in learning more about that, please go to attendssm.com. And I want to introduce to you Justin Rekla. And so I'm not going to read his entire bio because it's really big, because he's done a lot of amazing stuff. But the bottom line about Justin, this is the thing that really, really attracted me to him, is that he has a way of talking about cryptocurrency, but he also does due diligence. Now, due diligence is something that I don't really know how to do very well myself. And so when Justin started talking to me about things about cryptocurrency, now he's done the work going out there, finding the holes, finding the missing links, finding out all the answers, that I was like, I really want to learn more about that. And I want to learn from you, because he tells the truth. We are not on an agenda here. So there's no reason for us to tell you things that are not true. So welcome, Justin, to the show. I'm always excited to have you on our crypto convos. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me back on. I appreciate it. It's
of course. I love it.
Exciting times to be alive, right? In the world of cryptocurrency.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, now, I think today we are going to talk about some of the misconceptions of cryptocurrency, because I know a lot of people have questions about it. What is it? What does it mean? Should I get into it? If I should get into it, which one should I get into? How do I know if it's a scam? There's so many questions out there. So we're going to talk about those misconceptions. So you want to kind of do a little overview of that before I ask you a couple of the questions that came in from our viewers?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, cryptocurrency it's a new way of interacting and exchanging one another. One of the biggest misconceptions is that it operates like a stock. Well, nobody owns a company called Bitcoin. Bitcoin just exists on the internet. It's part of the code. It's part of the blockchain. It is out there. It's being mined by the Bitcoin network. And so one of the biggest misconceptions is that there's a company behind it. And truthfully, we don't know who created Bitcoin. We don't know where it came from. We just know it's attached and associated with this guy or group of people or a gal by the name of Satoshi Nakamoto. And there's all sorts of conspiracy theories out there as to who Satoshi Nakamoto may be. But the big misconception that we see in revolving around Bitcoin is that people think there's something behind it. And really what's behind it is the millions of people and the growing millions of people that say, hey, this is a means of us to exchange without the middleman in place. And it's a decentralized form of currency. It's a decentralized form of exchange. And so it's revolutionizing the way we interact with one another, as opposed to having to go through a bank or through debt or through credit, breaking the mold of the way that you and I transact.
Well, the one thing you talked about there, briefly, was you mentioned the blockchain. And so you see, one of the questions we had was, when you say the blockchain, that the blockchain is public, how does a person actually see it? And before you go into that, you guys, we've done a lot of videos here. This is a lot of interviews. This is our 7th episode. So we do talk about the blockchain in one of our previous episodes. But Justin, if you want to just quickly just touch on the brief overview of what the blockchain is, and then explain, how does a person like me see the blockchain?
Absolutely. So the blockchain is the technology that drives cryptocurrency, whether it be Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever the coin is, whatever the currency is, blockchain is the technology that allows it to function. It is a public ledger system that exists on the networks, on the internet, that keep track of all the transactions. So whenever somebody buys Bitcoin, sells Bitcoin, sends Bitcoin, receives Bitcoin, it is all tracked through the blockchain ledger. It does provide.
Well, let me stop you there just really quick because I guess I should come on screen since I'm asking a question. Okay, so does the blockchain only track Bitcoin, or does it track other coins? Because there's a lot of different types of coins out there.
Great question. So big misconception is that there's a single blockchain, right?
Okay.
That blockchain and Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're all on the same blockchain. That's not true. They're actually on their own individual blockchain networks. They're their own individual networks. Okay. You can have coins that are created from the same blockchain. So, for instance, Bitcoin Cash originated from the same blockchain that Bitcoin came from. Okay, and that happened during what they call a fork. The blockchain forked, and a new chain of ledger entries were created, and that became Bitcoin Cash. And it's forked. I don't know how many times Bitcoin's forked over the last year, but it's been quite a few times. There's Bitcoin Gold, Bitcoin Diamond. There's all sorts of different types of forks that have happened. But each time it does, it creates a new ledger system that is independent of the previous. And so Ethereum blockchain is different than Monero blockchain, which is different than Bitcoin blockchain. And so they're public ledger systems that anybody can go to and check out. You just have to go to one of the blockchain explorers. And so every blockchain typically has its own explorer. Monero's got its own explorer. Ethereum's got its own explorer. Bitcoin's got its own explorer. If you go to, I believe it is called blocktrail.com, you can go in there and you can take a look at all the transactions that are occurring on the Bitcoin network. And so if you just type in Bitcoin Explorer, you'll get a list of them that show up. And you can go take a look. They are literally third-party systems that monitor the Bitcoin network that allow you to watch what's going on. And a lot of people think, again, one of the misconceptions regarding the blockchain is that it provides a level of anonymity. And to some extent it does.
Okay.
To some extent, blockchain and your Bitcoin wallet do provide a level of anonymity. Where people get caught up is that if you've purchased your Bitcoin on an open exchange where you had to enter KYC information, meaning your personal
KYC,
know your client, basically your personal data, your personal information, and you've used that to set up your account, and then you purchase Bitcoin from, let's say, Coinbase, and then you move your Bitcoin from your Coinbase wallet to, let's say, your hardware wallet or your software wallet. A lot of people think that, the government's not going to be able to find me. I've got my own level of protection. Well, because of the public ledger system, because of blockchain, it's very, very easy to track those wallet transactions and follow the money. There are ways of going about, maintaining your anonymity, but you typically have to avoid any type of exchange that you register your personal identifying information with. But at the same time, it provides a level of security. So it provides a level of transparency that we can all see who's transacting with who, the amount of money that's being moved. And that's one of the things that cryptocurrency in general is challenging is there's no way to double spend. The current financial system, the debt that we have, allows for double spending. Blockchain doesn't. Bitcoin doesn't.
So does it say actual names, or are they numbers, or what?
Just wallet numbers, just wallet addresses. Okay. But again, if you've transferred money if you've transferred Bitcoin from your Coinbase account, which has all of your personal identifying information, they can literally follow those transactions to additional wallet IDs. Now, it gets into, you prove that you actually own the wallet, prove that the actual wallet it belongs to you, and so forth, by all means. And it doesn't necessarily provide the complete level of anonymity that people think it does, because it's meant to be transparent. So while there are ways to protect your identity and remain somewhat anonymous using Bitcoin, if you move it back to regular currency and through an exchange, it's easy to track down who it belongs to.
Okay, that's still very confusing.
It's all good. But the most important thing to remember about that is that the technology exists. The whole purpose of it is to create a public ledger, so things like double spending can't occur. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's Bitcoin itself has got a finite amount of currency that's actually available. The difference in the cryptocurrency world versus the regular banking system is that you put $100 in the bank. Well, the bank can then turn around and spend that $1,000 or invest that $1,000, and you have no idea what they're doing with it or where it's going. With blockchain technology, when somebody sends or receives Bitcoin, one, it's impossible to have any type of double entry, and secondly, you can see and track what wallet and where it's going to. You just have to get on one of the explorers and you just follow the path.
Oh wow. Do, 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 do.
That's the beautiful thing. It can be a little eerie, yet at the same time, kind of like we talked about on a previous conversation, is that it's really what's empowering people. It's giving people self-dominion over their own financial well-being, and without having to worry about what the banks are doing and doing with your money. You control your currency, and that's one of the biggest misconceptions is also is that your money is your money when you're using Bitcoin, and it's not meant to just be sold. It's not. A lot of people are just buying low, selling high, and they're day trading it. That's absolutely. Right. But it's called cryptocurrency. It comes from the root word current, which means it's supposed to flow, right? We're supposed to be exchanging it. We're supposed to be using it and keeping it going. And so I spend my cryptocurrency when it's on the upswing. I use cryptocurrency to purchase things because that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to be used as a form of exchange. If Satoshi Nakamoto, if you read the white paper, he comes out and says it's a currency. It's meant to replace the dollar.
Well, speaking of the white paper, you can find it at cryptocurrencyduediligence.com. And go check out, Justin's white paper, download it and check it out. It has a lot of great information in there, and it can, help you figure out some of the stuff, but also go watch our videos, our previous videos.
Absolutely. Just to clarify, it's not my white paper. It's a white paper, I guess you can call it. An article. It's basically an article on demystifying some of the myths around Bitcoin itself. But if you search Satoshi Nakamoto Bitcoin white paper, you can actually go read that white paper on the internet. It's just out there.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, let's go to our next question. Will the United States willingly allow China yen, I guess that's yen, right? Or Japanese yen to replace the dominance of the US dollar?
That is such a crazy question. There's a lot of speculation that one has to consider. You have to be willing to look behind the veil of what politics are and what they're not. You have to take a look at, the financial institutions themselves. There's a lot of different conspiracy theories out there right now as to what's going on with the global economy, global currencies, and will they ever allow it? Honestly, being in the military, they say that having been in the military, they say that the U.S. dollar is backed by the word of the government and the might of the U.S. military. Will they ever willingly give up that control of U.S. dollar having dominance in the global world? I don't know. But at the same time, we got a new kid on the block, cryptocurrency, that more and more people are starting to recognize that it's going to empower them in their own financial well-being. So realistically, the dollar, the yen, if cryptocurrency actually takes hold and does what it was designed to do, things like the dollar and the yen in the future will just be a thing of the past.
Well, let me ask you about Bitcoin Cash, because the word cash implies to me that there's actual cash. Is there? I mean, what the heck? What is that all about?
It's still a digital currency, and okay. that's another great. I'm glad you bring that up, because there's another big misconception is that people think that Bitcoin is like a physical item, right? Or that if you've got your Bitcoin on your cell phone, that the coin is actually stored on your phone. Bitcoin is actually a digital. It's actually stored on the blockchain, and your wallet and your private keys just give you access to the blockchain to allow you to spend your cryptocurrency and allow you to spend your Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash was forked from Bitcoin itself. They mine it differently, meaning that they keep track of the network in larger chunks of data. Bitcoin itself is mined, I believe, in 1 megabyte blocks, to whereas Bitcoin Cash is mined in 8 megabyte blocks. So the amount of data, the amount of transactions that can be sent in the ledger system in the blockchain is faster with Bitcoin Cash, depending on the day of the network and then how many people are transacting on it. But that to me that was just a brilliant marketing move to kind of get people familiar with their cryptocurrency, and they do mine it a little bit differently. So again, larger chains, but essentially it's just another cryptocurrency mined a little bit different. It's one of the top 4 now as far as widely recognized cryptocurrencies. But it's just like any other cryptocurrency. It's fractional. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin. You don't have to buy a full Bitcoin Cash, full BCH. It is fractional. You don't have to buy a full one to spend it. A lot of people I talk to will come up to me and go, well, I wish I could have gotten into Bitcoin. I just can't afford to buy any now. It's at $7,000. And then it's like, stop. Well, you can buy $2 worth of Bitcoin. And they're like, you can? Yeah, you don't need to buy a full Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin Cash was I think it was just a marketing ploy to get it more familiar. The term cash, most people associate with the term cash, but it's still a digital currency, no different than Bitcoin, no different than Ethereum. It all works and spins the same depending on where you're trying to spin it and who's willing to accept it.
Okay, and are there any big companies or names that we've heard of that are currently accepting or using Bitcoin in exchange?
There are roughly, I believe, and this number is growing, I believe 150,000 vendors worldwide right now that are currently accepting Bitcoin.
Really?
And there's a lot more. McDonald's at the end of last year announced that by the end of this year, 2018, that they will accept Bitcoin. We'll see if that comes to fruition. You can go to McDonald's and buy your Bitcoin Big Mac, and we'll see if that actually comes first. But there's a lot of different Square, a lot of merchants that use Square can now accept Bitcoin through their Square processing software. So there's more and more people that are coming online. There's talks about Amazon accepting it. There's all sorts of other places that are starting to accept it as a means of exchange, and it's going to change the way we interact with one another.
Well, let me ask you a question about that. I'm standing in line at McDonald's. I'm ordering my Big Mac and fries, and they say, okay, that's, I don't know, $28. And you say, oh, you guys take Bitcoin. Cool. So do I then, how do they get my $28 out of here into their register? Because you have to make that, in my mind, you have to make a conversion. $28 equals this 0.00000 whatever Bitcoin. But how do they get that money? Or can they say $28, it does an immediate conversion and it just like they scan my phone or something.
Yeah, they'll have.
That's what I envision.
I'm sure that's one of the reasons why they're waiting until the end of the year is because they're going to having to convert over their register systems. But
Right.
it's no different than you can you can use your phone right now to use Apple Pay, right? And you can go in and you can Apple Pay on a device at the cash register, and it automatically debits your bank account, right? So
okay,
that technology already exists. The only difference is that you have to do that through a bank, right? The bank has to be set up there with that. All they have to do is update the technology to accept Bitcoin transfers. It's a matter of knowing that this wallet ID is expecting 0.001 Bitcoin coming in. As soon as it receives one confirmation, most networks, most vendors require at least 6 confirmations on the blockchain. But McDonald's will probably end up, because of the nature of their business, they'll probably do it to where it's just one confirmation on the blockchain, to where as soon as it goes through, boom, they got a confirmation. Your payment's been accepted, and now you've got Bitcoin, or you got your Big Mac on the way. And the beautiful thing is that for those that are using soft wallets, they can keep it on their phone. I've got my Bitcoin on my phone, and I can actually send and receive Bitcoin right from my phone. So if I'm out and about, God willing, I will never eat at McDonald's again. But I might just go check out the Bitcoin
just to try it. Like I'm going to McDonald's just to try out the
just
Bitcoin.
to try it, right? I want to order a Big Mac because I'll see if it can, how well it works.
But are you going to eat it?
Probably not.
Okay.
Probably not. And boom, you just go to your phone, and you'll be able to send it to McDonald's right from your phone. And so, and that's the thing is it's educating people that the technology is really no different than what you're already used to. A lot of people think, oh, you got to have all this special gear and this special technology. It's really not. It's once you understand how it works, it's no different than using your debit card. It's no different than using Apple Pay. It's the same mechanisms that we already have in place. It's just wrapping your mind around the fact that you have complete control over your money and don't have to worry about going through a bank.
Okay, so if you do a transaction with McDonald's, we'll use them as the example as you brought them up, and now I'm wanting a Big Mac. Thank you very much. But if you're at McDonald's and you do the transaction, for example, when I go to McDonald's now and I use my debit card or my credit card, I don't pay a fee to swipe, but for my credit card, I would end up paying a finance charge. So with Bitcoin, what does that do to that transaction that happens? Because the bank actually pays for the debit card transactions, right? There's a fee that the bank has to pay.
Yeah, it depends on the bank. There's some banks that charge you a surcharge. If you go to certain gas stations, I think Arco or AMPM, they charge you a 35-cent surcharge to use your debit card, right? So it's similarly, it's essentially the same to where when you send and receive Bitcoin, there is a network fee associated with it. So right now, the problem with it being completely sustainable is sometimes those network fees can be extremely high, depending on the volume, of the network. Okay, how many people are moving Bitcoin that day? The networks are really bogged down. I've seen network fees as high as $45 to send $20 worth of Bitcoin. And so that is improving. We've had a couple of things that have happened to the blockchain, SegWit and so forth, that have helped speed that up. You've got the new Lightning Network that's coming out. A lot of people are starting to adapt to. That's helping that. And those are some of the technological advances that are issues that are going to need to be addressed and overcome, essentially, in order for Bitcoin to be more widely accepted. The beautiful thing is that there are other coins out there that people can accept, and McDonald's may choose to accept Ethereum. They may choose to accept Litecoin. They may choose to accept other cryptocurrencies to where the network fees in sending those coins aren't as high. And so that's where it comes down to. You have to decide when you're out and about, if you're spending your Bitcoin, if you look down and you want to spend $5 worth of Bitcoin, but it's going to cost you $12 to send it.
Mm-hmm.
So your $5 Big Mac is now $17 Big Mac. Do you want to do that? And as the technology increases and as network fees decrease and more people come online with it, I think that'll be a lot easier for people to do. And there'll be times that it makes sense. There'll be times that it doesn't make sense. The beautiful thing is that you, as the individual, get to decide that. I love using my cryptocurrency, my Bitcoin, and going out and spending it, especially when it's on the swing. It's on the upswing. When it's going up, when it's going up, I'm actually spending smaller and smaller amounts of Bitcoin, and I can go out on a Friday night and spend $100 using Bitcoin, and if Bitcoin's gone up the next day, I will actually have made money. So
right. And the contrary, if it's gone down, you've lost money.
Exactly. But at the same time, I don't like to spend my Bitcoin when Bitcoin is on the downswing.
Right. So that's kind of a rule of thumb you follow, and you've found it to be good, right? It's been beneficial.
Absolutely. And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
It's down pretty low right now. What is it at right now today?
Last time I checked, it was sitting around just about 7,000. It keeps wanting to go down below 6, but then it pops back up. There's some things going on in the market that I haven't seen where it's at this afternoon, but it's been fun to watch. It's there's nothing like it. We've never seen anything like this before. And we're sitting on the precipice of some on a huge financial revolution. And when more people wake up to what the power of cryptocurrency is and understand how to use it, and realize it's not big, bad, and scary, that it's going to empower a lot of people.
Well, how can people find out about, more about it? I know you have a Facebook group. You want to share that with people, because that's a free Facebook group people can join.
Absolutely. They can go to cryptocurrency. If they search Facebook for cryptocurrency due diligence, we are the only cryptocurrency due diligence group out there on Facebook right now. We share lots of information. I ask people to post things about, if they've got questions about this, or if they come across a scam or a fraud, post it in there. The only thing I don't allow is no affiliate links. We just don't like to make sure. We like to make sure that anything we share in that group has been vetted. So the only affiliate links that are in there are things that we have vetted ourselves, or individuals or opportunities that we have vetted ourselves.
I want to touch on that just really quick, because we only have a few more minutes left. But talking about affiliate links, so there are opportunities within the cryptocurrency communities where you can actually, I don't want to say MLM, but MLM-ish, direct sales, where you can bring affiliates in. It's affiliate marketing. Bring affiliates in. Bring people in through your affiliate link, because just like any other business, the cryptocurrencies that are out there, they're businesses. And so they want to have their customer base enlarge, get bigger and bigger. Just make sure you don't get in on any Ponzi schemes. So you want to talk about that really quick, Justin?
Absolutely. So and it gets even stickier in the cryptocurrency world, because there's a lot of things going on right now that, depending on what the business model is, certain states like Texas and South Carolina are making rulings at the SEC level, that at the state SEC level, that these cryptocurrency opportunities are actually securities. And so therefore anybody associated with them is selling unsecured securities and can get themselves into trouble. I've seen a lot of that with the mining operations. A lot of cryptocurrency opportunities out there that allow you to get involved in mining, contract mining, and so forth. And these states have ruled that they are selling those types of businesses are selling unsecured, unregistered securities, and it's wreaking havoc on those types of business models. And depending on what side of the fence you lean on, there's people that are like hardcore cryptocurrency, keep the government out of it. And then there's those that are on the other side of the fence that are like, no, it needs to be regulated. And I believe that the truth's somewhere in the middle, which is my due diligence perspective. But you just have to be cautious of that. Due diligence, again, is not about risk elimination. It's about risk mitigation. And just be cautious of the entities that you get involved with. There's a lot of MLMs out there that are using education as the product. Be very careful with those, because depending on how their compensation plan is put together, it could be a Ponzi. I've already seen a couple that were taken down that were educational platforms, but essentially the only way that you could earn was to recruit. Well, that by the very nature of itself is a Ponzi. Seeing things like seeing a lot of network opportunities that are using cryptocurrency as the backbone, and they're throwing around big words like smart contract, which is it comes from Ethereum, smart contracts, blockchain, and so forth. And they're saying that they actually have a product. Actually, had one introduced to me the other day that I asked what the product was, and they're like, "Oh, we sell smart contracts." Okay. What's the smart contract under? What's it attached to? And they couldn't answer. They just knew that they were selling smart contracts. And when they took a look at it, sure enough, it was a straight Ponzi scheme. So you just got to be really careful out there, because cryptocurrency is a big catchphrase right now. There's a lot of people that are diving into it and coming up with these new opportunities, and a lot of them are in violation of securities laws, and or are setting themselves up to where they are, in fact, Ponzi schemes. So just got to be really cautious out there. Make sure you do your due diligence when you're deciding to get involved with something like that.
Cool. I love it. Now next week, let me see. I have a note here. Next week, we're going to talk about one of the companies that wasn't doing things right. Right? Something like that.
You wanted to explore a couple of the actual frauds that we have come across, and how they work. Absolutely. Let's dive into that a little bit more, because we uncovered quite a bit in we'll just say the lending platforms that were going on that were not legit. Matter of fact, there's a video that I'll be sharing in my group here shortly that was pretty well done. Video. I haven't vetted the company that put it behind it, but the video itself is very informative, because it talks about how easy it is, and I talk about this all the time, on how easy it is to create a scam using a cryptocurrency and or an ICO. It literally, if you understand a basic understanding of programming, can build a website and throw together a PDF white paper, which is not difficult to do.
Right.
A 16-year-old kid living in his mom's basement can whip up an ICO, make a ton of money using, collecting Bitcoin, and then disappear. So got to be very, very, very cautious out there. If the ICO doesn't actually have an actual business or a business team associated to it, and you actually haven't verified that, and they're not public about it, that's typically a red flag indicator for making sure you're not, don't get involved, or at least do more due diligence.
Right. And try to figure it out. Yeah. Because I know that's your biggest thing, is to get out there, do your due diligence. And sometimes sometimes some of us don't know the questions to ask to get started on the due diligence. And if you're too confused, don't invest. If you can't afford to lose $1,000, don't invest $1,000, because you might lose that $1,000. Don't hop on the gravy train just because you think it's going to go up, and especially if you're promised it's going to go up.
Well, that's one of the biggest misconceptions too in the ICO world, is that an ICO, in order for it to perform well, has to have some sort of business associated to it, right? The chances of an ICO coming out solely to be the new stable, to have its own store of value and be the new Bitcoin, the likelihood of that ever happening is extremely, extremely small, right? So an ICO by itself might have, the coin that's associated might have its own stored value as it gets popularity, as more and more people are involved with it. But if it's going to have its own stored value, it's got to typically have some sort of business associated with it. How is it going to justify its value if there's nothing to get it going? Now, Bitcoin is kind of like a rarity, right? I mean, there was nothing. It just launched.
Right.
It just got thrown out there. But most ICOs nowadays, the chances of them making it to replacing the Bitcoin, and I cringe every time I see advertisements about, this coin's going to be the next Bitcoin. No, it's not. There is no next Bitcoin. Bitcoin is Bitcoin.
Right.
Bitcoin Cash is about the closest thing that we've seen to it. But even then, Bitcoin Cash was created by somebody. It was created by, Litecoin was created by a group. Ethereum was created by somebody. And so ICOs out there that are claiming to be the next Bitcoin, and it's going to be have its own store of value. Yes. And what is the company or the people behind that coin doing to get it to where people are going to want to use it as a means of exchange?
Awesome. So bottom line, do your due diligence.
Absolutely.
And go check out cryptocurrencyduediligence.com and download the white paper they have there, for more information. And then join the Facebook group. It's just on Facebook, Cryptocurrency Due Diligence. Join that Facebook group. There's a lot of interaction in there. It's a great place to learn a lot of information.
Post your questions too.
Yeah,
Please.
Post your questions. Yeah, please do that. And then next week, we're going to uncover at least one fraud that, right? Did I say that right?
Absolutely.
Well, Justin's going to uncover one fraud next week. So we look forward to seeing you guys here again next week. If you have any questions that you want me to ask Justin, you can put them in the comments below here, and I can ask them next time, or he and I also will be able to see the questions and then respond to those at a later date. So you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll see you next Tuesday for Crypto Convo. Bye-bye now.